Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Angela Brennan and this is my third video for the Spellbinders June 2023 release, and this is about Stampendous products. I've got the Stampendous Outdoorsy quick background cards as well as the quick cards with the great outdoors images. I start off by showing you how I cut the backgrounds into four because they are 8.5 by 11-inch cards, and I cut it into four and I make A2 size cards. A2 size cards are 4.25 by 5.5 inches. The first card I make is a shaker card using the Glimmer of the Month May 2023 balloon shaker card. It is something I've done before, and I will link the video to more examples on how I use this Glimmer of the Month kit. But I couldn't resist making a shaker card with this background. It seemed so ideal. I go on to make quite a few cards with this background papers using the Glimmer machine. Once I get the Glimmer machine on, I can't turn it off. That's a problem with me. So I end up making quite a few cards, and I also use the Glimmer Bouquet hot foil plate. Actually, that's my second video. I will link the other two videos of this June 2023 release from Spellbinders so you can see. So the Glimmer Bouquet is something I use with these background cards as well, and you get to see how I use them. I will come back and explain the second part of the video where I use the Great Outdoors quick cards and how I do some stitching on it. I love to do stitching, so any opportunity to do stitching on cards, I take it up. I really hope you enjoy the video because there's quite a lot of ideas I've given you here on how you can use this background cards as well as quick cards. If you do enjoy the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when new videos are uploaded. Do head over to my blog, and the link to my blog is in the description below, where you will see close-up pictures of all the cards as well as products that I've used. I've also linked products that I've used in the description below. Here are the Stampendous quick cards, great outdoors. Essentially, they're images that can be cut using various shape dies and adhered to a card with the sentiments that are there. You can do it quite simply, or you can embellish them. So I embellish them with some sewing, as well as using some quick drops and some glitter. Before doing any of that, I cut them down. Well, it's easier to use a guillotine to cut it. I find that sometimes it's not so straight. So I do use a steel-edged ruler and a craft knife to cut it so I get precise dimensions and straight cutting, especially of the sentiments. Here's some stitching I did on one of the images. This is pretty much some straight stitching or overlap stitching that I did. And here is some French knots as well as some flowers that I did with 3 prongs. I'll explain it as the video goes on. But this is the kind of stitching I did, and I think it looks quite pretty to embellish the images from the Stampendous quick card set. In order to do this stitching, and I used it for the flowers, I use a combination of French knots. Now, French knots are easy to do. You just need a bit of patience. And if you do quite a lot of it, it looks really, really pretty. I use quite a thin needle, which is a size 28 tapestry needle. And I use a size 24 tapestry needle to do the piercing with a format at the bottom. If you don't have a format, you can use a styrofoam. As long as you've got a base that's quite soft that can take in the piercings. I don't want to use a piercing. The piercing tool I have is quite thick. So if you have a piercing tool that's quite thin, it's quite good. Because the paper is not, or the card's not too thick, I use a size 24 needle to do some of the piercings. And the French knot is relatively simple. Firstly, I use 3 strands of the DMC cotton thread. I use only 3 strands because I didn't want the hole in the stitching to be too thick due to the paper. Then I twirl the thread around the needle 3 or 4 times. The more you twirl, the bigger the French knot. And then I hold the thread on the left a bit taut, and then I pull it through gently. Make sure the thread in your left hand is taut, and then pull it through slowly, and you'll get a beautiful French knot. The more times you twirl it, the larger the French knot. If you twirl it a couple of times, you get a tiny French knot. And it's nice to get a variation in the sizes of your French knots when you're doing this. A French knot covers a tiny flower. Now for the next flower stitch that I do, it needs an odd numbered prong. Here I use the 3 prongs, and all you do is stitch the thread to make the 3 prongs. So you make sure you've got 3 spokes, if you like, or 3 prongs as I call it, and then you will, once you have the 3 spokes, you will insert your thread in every other spoke. So you skip a spoke and you keep threading the thread onto the next other spoke. So you, say you've got 3 prongs, you put the thread into spoke number 1, skip spoke 2, go to spoke 3, then skip spoke 1, go to spoke 2, skip spoke 3, go to spoke 1, and repeat until you get a nice fluffy flower. Don't pull the thread too tightly, but leave it quite comfortably loose, but not too loose. You can do this with 5 prongs as well if you've got more space, and I'll do that in subsequent videos, and I'll show you how I do that. But I like the idea of doing this. This is one of those embroidery ways of making flowers. I'm not into embroidery, but I love doing it on paper craft. So I do this quite a few times, and it takes a little bit of time, I'll give you that. But I think the results are so pretty. You need to practice this. I practiced this a few times, quite a few times before I got it right. If you practice this, and it's not as hard as it looks. Think about an odd number of spokes. That's what you need to start with. And then you need to put your thread through, skipping each spoke, but until you complete the circle and you have a fluffy looking flower. That's all it takes. are all the completed cards once I've embellished the images from the Stampendous quick cards images. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, remember to press that notification bell so you're alerted when a new video is uploaded. Do head over to my blog. The link to my blog is in the description below, where you've got more close-up pictures of all the cards I've created as well as the products I've used, which is also listed in the description below. In the meantime, happy crafting, and I'll catch you at my next video. Take care.